On my husband's birthday. I hid behind the curtains in his lab to surprise him. Instead, I watched Ethan walk in with his first love, Lily. She collapsed sobbing into his arms. And he didn't push her away. That's when I knew our marriage was over. When I arrived at City Hall, Ethan and Lily were entangled at the entrance. How touching, the cheating couple couldn't even wait until after our divorce to start their affair. My bitter laugh echoed as I approached. 3 people handling marital business at once, what a rare spectacle. Lily? What are you doing here? Ethan asked, panic flashing across his face. Lily immediately teared up, those peach blossom eyes glistening with practiced vulnerability. What could she possibly say? Admit she's the mistress supervising her lover's divorce proceedings? I told her to come, I stated coldly, watching Ethan pale. After 3 failed attempts to finalize our divorce, missed flights, forgotten IDs, sudden food poisoning, I'd summoned his precious Lily as insurance. This time, he wouldn't weasel out. As I marched ahead, I mentally inventoried the documents in my purse for the 11th time. My fingers had traced the Ethan Miller on our marriage certificate until the ink nearly faded. My bestie Sophia was already prepping our 3-day freedom bash at the bar. But my chest still tightened painfully. Alice, I have a headache. Maybe we should reschedule? Ethan's plaintive voice followed me. Both Lily and I rolled our eyes in unison. If he loved her so much, why the hesitation? The scene erupted when Ethan collapsed. Paramedics only allowed family in the ambulance. I yanked Lily back from climbing in. At the hospital, doctors found a brain tumor. Thunderstruck, I stared at the man who'd shattered my trust, now dependent on me. Sophia barged in later, demanding, "Where's the divorce papers?" Her crude comment about dumping the trash drew disapproving stares. Meanwhile, Lily kept appearing to weep dramatically at Ethan's bedside. Useless as ever. 30 days in ICU drained our savings. Each monitor beep mocked me, the cheater becoming my financial millstone. Sophia suggested cutting life support. But I remembered Ethan's recent headaches he'd ignored. During night shifts, I'd replay finding them in his lab that birthday afternoon. Lily had cooed over his awards before pivoting to tearful confessions. Now her crocodile tears soaked his hospital gown as machines breathed for him. The MRI scans glared from the light box. My lawyer's papers sat unsigned in my bag. Freedom waited. Yet I kept paying the medical bills. Some masochistic part needed to witness his awakening to finally hear why our vows meant so little. But the monitors kept their steady rhythm, the tumor keeping its secrets. My new life paused in the sterile limbo, caught between vengeance and lingering care. The divorce papers grew heavy in my purse, edges fraying from constant handling. Ethan fell right into the trap. The moment he finished asking, Lily's tears began cascading down her cheeks. "I just got divorced," she said, as if declaring newfound freedom. "Come chase me. We can be together again." True to form, she followed with, "Why did you leave me back then?" Lily inched closer until she collapsed against Ethan's chest, sobbing rhythmically between repetitions of why. He didn't push her away, merely sighing. "You gave up first." The sound of Lily's weeping made my temples throb. Thankfully, Ethan hurried her away. I never learned what happened later that night. Whether he went home. I certainly couldn't bear facing an empty apartment anticipating his absence. Sophia and I demolished an entire cake at the bar that evening. The one I'd baked myself. Cruelly iced with "Eternally Yours" in looping script. My first proper encounter with Ethan occurred in our living room at 9 a.m. Sunlight slanting across hardwood floors. After pulling an all-nighter bartending, I stumbled home craving sleep. "You finally decided to come back," David sneered the instant I entered. "Where else would I go? Bar couches can't compare to real beds." I ignored him. "Get a respectable job." His angry belly jiggled beneath his shirt. I snorted. "Like yours? Please, I'm the city's top mixologist." Our bar's booming. The owner keeps raising my pay. Better than your pathetic existence as a forgotten academic with a broken family. Before I could voice the cruelty, David slammed his book on the coffee table. Do I still count as your father? Do I count as your daughter? My retort died as I noticed the handsome young man beside him clutching research papers. Familiar, a regular at the bar? Shrugging, I trudged to my bedroom and face planted on the mattress. David's world revolved around semiconductor research and molding students. This mediocre professor fancied himself a martyr for scientific progress, determined to become a stepping stone for national technological advancement. Tragically, he lacked that crucial 1% spark separating grinders from geniuses. His prized student, that same young man now in our living room, had shattered a decade-long research impasse within months. Now David poured his life's work into mentoring this prodigy, claiming the chosen ones must propel human innovation. Hogwash. My mission? Corrupt his golden boy into a directionless slacker like me. Ethan's vulnerability made him easy prey. After his sweetheart Lily abandoned him for pursuing academia under David, he'd become a bar regular. What better cure for heartbreak than a rebound? By right of timing, I became the interloper. I dragged Ethan through every notable Beijing cocktail den, exploiting his low alcohol tolerance. Tipsy and pliant, I'd straddle his lap whispering that research brought only misery compared to pleasure. His flustered blush, parted lips, trembling legs, all so endearing. When our noses brushed, sweat slick and breath mingling, his hand cradled my head as our lips met. After that, Ethan followed me everywhere. David nearly ruptured a blood vessel screaming, "Don't corrupt him." Music to my ears. The louder he raged, the tighter I clung to Ethan, slamming doors like I'd done as a child watching him abandon mom for laps. To complete Ethan's downfall, I brought him nightly to my workplace. Yet the man wrote academic papers amidst our bar's neon haze. While I respected his focus, I'd catch him glaring at flirtatious patrons before draping an arm around me, territorial yet sweet. My initial scheme to spite David took an unexpected turn when Ethan proposed opening our own bar. I'd always dreamed of it but lacked drive until he handled permits, contractors, promotions. My role remained unchanged, crafting drinks behind the counter while he built our empire. On opening night, I genuinely kissed his cheek without pretense, flushing at his smile as he hung our "eternally yours" sign. David's subsequent meltdown when Ethan moved in with me could have powered a small city. Now as Ethan lies comatose, the doctor's words detonate like grenades. We warned him 6 months ago about needing surgery. CT scans glare from the monitor, time-stamped a half-year prior. My mind reels. He knew? All those months together. And he never. The doctor looked at me standing there like a log, probably thinking I didn't even know the patient's condition and was utterly unqualified as family. He switched to a half-explanatory, half-reassuring tone. The patient's situation is complex. The surgery only has a 20% success rate, which might explain the hesitation. Then his voice sharpened. But without surgery, even that 20% chance disappears. Leaving the consultation room, I remained shell-shocked while Sophia bounced like an over-caffeinated squirrel. Surgery. Now. Preferably ending in tragic failure. If he dies, the insurance pays out $6 million. I squinted at her. What $6 million? Back in her wild youth, Sophia had tried every get-rich-quick scheme including insurance sales lured by promises of easy 6-figure incomes. She'd milked every relative dry before reality hit. You bought him insurance? Sophia snapped her fingers triumphantly. The kind that pays when they kick the bucket. Ethan was sharp enough too. My eyebrows shot up. Even I'd refused to be Sophia's insurance mark. How did Ethan, a stereotypical lab rat academic, fall for this? Unless. Alice, wipe that cheating homewrecker look off your face. We're ride or die besties. Explain. Sophia hesitated before mumbling. After your dad David died, Ethan came to me. My eyelid twitched violently. David's death remained an open wound. The stubborn old researcher had collapsed alone in his lab while I was busy sabotaging Ethan's grades at bars. By the time Ethan found him, 4 months afterward, Ethan became my lifeline, finishing David's research, bringing my favorite sweet and sour fish, patiently removing every bone. He handled funeral arrangements like a proper son-in-law, even when I spat that our marriage was just revenge against David. Ethan's family has genetic risks, Sophia continued. After seeing what happened to David, he wanted precautions. $6 million. Her voice shifted to pragmatic urgency. Our bar's bleeding money. The landlord's threatening eviction. This place survived 10 years, you'll let it die? Ethan helped me open Endless Days Bar after David's death. Now I sponged his motionless body in the hospital bed. Sophia's voice cut through my thoughts. You divorced him cleanly. Why play nurse now? I owe him. The truth hung unspoken those dark days. Ethan's quiet care had anchored me. When I'd tried following David to the grave, Ethan physically held me together. Now monitors beeped rhythmically beside his still form. Sophia snorted. Bullshit. You're soft on him. Pity. I corrected harshly. Pity, he wasted his prime on David's research cult. 10 years chasing academic glory while others got rich. Look where it landed him. I chased Sophia out. Lingering with Ethan. Wake up and we'll finalize the divorce. Let you reunite with Lily. Your precious first love. The heart monitor chirped obliviously. Lily had visited twice before ghosting, her undying love crumbling against medical bills. I smirked bitterly. Even Lily, who'd once dumped Ethan over money, wouldn't touch this mess. Sophia's daily calls alternated between nagging about bar debts and my wasted nursing efforts. Hire someone, she'd yell. Can't afford it. I'd lie, ignoring that the bar's red ink stemmed from my neglect. Truth was, tending Ethan felt like atonement for David, for years of using him. As I adjusted his the monitor's steady pulse underscored my whisper. 20%'s better than 0. But you've got to wake up so I can stop feeling guilty. Understand? The room swallowed my words, leaving only the ventilator's mechanical sigh. Across town, our dying bar's neon sign flickered, endless days dimming with each unpaid bill. The nurse came to see me again, handing over the new medical bills. Ethan was a money pit. If he didn't wake up after costing me this much, every penny would be wasted. I stepped out of the hospital room and called customer service. Can my credit limit be increased? The rejection stung. I'd maxed out 4 cards already, all on payment plans. If Ethan didn't regain consciousness soon, I'd have to start a GoFundMe. I asked Sophia if crowdfunding platforms required friend verification first. My best friend looked at me like I'd lost my mind, her expression screaming she'd never endorse this financial suicide. Then loan me the money? I began. Not a dime. Sophia cut me off. Especially not for that jerk's medical bills. I'd rather feed cash to strays. As your real friend, I'm stopping this madness. That's how I ended up at the cafe near Lily's luxury condo. Glancing at real estate apps, I saw even the smallest units in her building started at 2,000 square feet with $15,000 per square foot pricing. Lily arrived draped in Chanel's spring collection. Limited edition jewelry glinting, a walking billboard of wealth. Ethan needs $700,000 for surgery. I blurted. Lily's laugh could frost champagne. You've always wanted him. If he wakes up, I'll sign divorce papers immediately. Her smirk sharpened. Only an idiot would take on this half-dead liability. Weren't true love supposed to be priceless? Either that saying was lies, or Lily's decade-long affection had always been tissue paper thin. Strangely, I pitied Ethan. This Hail Mary pass had failed. Clearly no princess would kiss this comatose prince awake. Since you never really cared. I stood abruptly. Stop wrecking marriages. I itched to scold this homewrecker on behalf of her parents, but simply turned to leave. Lily's bitter chuckle froze me. He was with me that birthday night. You assumed we slept together? Truth is, he rejected me. Collapsed while leaving. I took him to the hospital where he begged me not to tell you. Spent the whole night there. Her words kept coming like poisoned darts. Ethan always resented me quitting research. I just wanted better for us. Think he actually loves you? Please. You're just Professor Johnson's daughter. Like your father. He's incapable of love, a defective clone. Numb. I wandered into David's old study. For 10 years. This had been Ethan's domain. Now I collapsed in Dad's chair. Flicking the desk lamp on off/on off. Mom's final months flooded back how she'd hidden the cancer until it was too late. Protecting Dad's crucial work in some mountain lab. His empty promises of villas and trips. The way she'd magically maintained his perfect little world until her body gave out. I hated him then. Hate thawed when I found the letter in Dad and Ethan's research notes. Sophia practically bounced when I agreed to the 20% survival chance surgery. If he dies on the table, you get the $8 million policy. We'll save the bar. Pay your debts. Maybe get you a boy toy. She paced the waiting room nervously. More invested in the payout. Why the change of heart? She asked. Because Ethan would hate existing like this. Like Dad. He was ambition incarnate. After Mom died, I expected collapse. Instead, Dad packed me off to boarding school and returned to his precious mountains. The ultimate research automaton. Ethan proved different. Nightly, he'd collect me from the bar, tuck me in, then return to lab under starlight. Our human perpetual motion machine claimed geniuses didn't need sleep until he face-planted in his ramen. That's when I stopped making him fetch me. For 10 years. He balanced work and love flawlessly. Until last month when the lunar probe launched. Ethan spun me around laughing. Can't discuss details. He'd said, eyes shining. But we did it. Alice. Your dad's moon dream, we made it. Only later did I realize he'd been racing death itself to fulfill that promise. Damn modern medicine. Sophia cursed when Ethan survived. Works when you don't want it to. She calculated aloud that humble professor would need decades to repay his bills. She'd always feared Ethan would morph into Dad too. 0. I'd argued otherwise. Dad loved no one. Ethan overflowed with love. Now awake. Ethan watches me with unnerving calm. When EMS arrived, I yanked Lily back from the ambulance. Paperwork's pending. I stated. I'm still his wife. What right does she have? The gurney doors slammed shut on my hollow victory. Just do it. He said. Let's get divorced. I sneered. In such a hurry to run to Lily? The light in his eyes flickered. He wanted to explain but remained silent. Gazing at me with that same obsessed look from our first fake kiss that he turned into real passion. The doctor said although your brain tumor was large and in a tricky position, it's benign. The surgery removed everything cleanly. You'll be perfectly normal now. Even the physicians called it miraculous. As if heaven first envied his brilliance then took mercy. His face instantly brightened. Alice. Seizing his post-surgery weakness after he gasped my name. I pressed my finger to his lips. I'm wheeling you to City Hall right now. Immediate divorce. Whoever backs out is a coward. No. I refuse. Ethan protested weakly. Struggling to raise his voice from his hospital bed. Eyes wide with frustration. I threw an envelope onto his sheets. Impressive. 10 years married without a single love letter. And your first is a suicide note. To my beloved wife, when you read this, I'll already be gone. Forgive my deception. I wanted endless days with you. But my body failed. I leave little except insurance money through Sophia, may it bring small comfort. I knew about you before you approached me. Your sweet tooth and spice aversion. How you crave iced drinks despite stomach aches. Your bar-hopping escapes from reality. Your dream to own a carefree tavern. All from David. He said he treasured two things, his research and you. Long before we met, he subjected me to 18 trials before entrusting both treasures to me. Knowing about your unresolved issues, he asked me to become your protector, brother, friend, guardian. I studied you before you noticed me. Envied your aimless joy, carpe diem spirit, adaptability, effortless ease. How you comfortably embraced being an unambitious little slacker. Your laughter hides deep loneliness. I wanted to erase that. Lily is my academic partner. I used her to make you jealous. Forcing myself to leave. The divorce was to free you. Every bureaucratic delay was my reluctance. Forgive me for failing to care for you properly. If reincarnated, I'd choose to be a lazy bum spending eternity with you. If Ethan weren't recovering from brain surgery, I'd smack his skull myself. Did he really think me some fairweather villain who couldn't weather storms? Though technically, the neurosurgeons already cracked his head open. Ethan grinned with boyish innocence. I snapped. I regret saving you. You owe me 6 million. Groping for my hand, he wheedled. Will taking me as payment suffice? Absolutely not. Clearly Ethan's a financial liability. But I'll keep him, he's right about my fear of loneliness. And only he makes eternity feel like home.